If you've even diligently taken your vitamin D supplement every morning with your coffee, thinking you're doing your bones and your immune system a huge favor, I have some news that might come as a bit of a shock. You might actually be wasting your money. Or worse, putting your health at risk without even realizing it. We've all been told for decades that vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin and that as we get older, we simply need more of it to keep our hips strong and our minds sharp. But here's the thing, recent data from 2025 and 26 shows that the way the average American senior is taking this supplement is fundamentally flawed. It isn't just about the dosage, it's about the timing, the combination, and even the form of the vitamin sitting in your tablet right now. If you've even feeling sluggish, noticing more aches in your joints, or wondering why your blood tests are not budging despite daily supplementation, this video is exactly what you need to watch. I am going to break down the latest medical guidelines so you can start guessing and start getting the actual benefits you're paying for. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the science, if you find this information helpful, it would mean a lot if you could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep bringing you the latest, fact-checked health updates that actually matter for your daily life. Now, let us talk about why your vitamin D isn't working the way you think it is. The first and perhaps most common mistake people make is choosing the wrong form of the vitamin. If you look at the back of your bottle, you will all likely see one of two names: vitamin D2 or vitamin D3. For a long time, doctors prescribed D2, also known as archaglossacor, because it was the standard pharmaceutical version. But the latest research is very clear that D3, or cholesterol, is the version your body actually recognizes and uses most efficiently. Think of it this way: D2 is like a generic off-brand battery that loses its charge quickly, while D3 is the high-capacity, long-lasting version that keeps the lights on for much longer. D3 is what your skin naturally produces when it hits the sunlight, and studies show it is significantly more effective at raising and maintaining those crucial blood levels over the long haul. Second, we have to address the empty stomach trap. This is where so many people go wrong right out of the gate. You wake up, you take your pills with a glass of water or a cup of black coffee, and you head out for the day. The problem is that vitamin D is fat soluble. That is a fancy medical term which simply means it needs fat to dissolve and pass through your intestinal wall into your bloodstream. If there is no fat present in your stomach when that pill arrives, your body treats it like a pebble. It just passes right through you. I've seen patients take 5-0 IS a day for months with zero change in their labs, only to see their level skyrocket once they started taking that same pill with a spoonful of Greek yogurt, some avocado, or even just a handful of walnuts. You don't need a honey meal, but you do need some healthy fats to act as the vehicle for that vitamin to get where it needs to go. Third, we need to talk about the forgotten mineral that makes vitamin D actually work: magnesium. This is a connection that even some doctors overlook. Vitamin D doesn't just work on it. It requires magnesium to be converted into its active form in your blood. If you are deficient in magnesium, and statistics show that over half of the U.S. population is your vitamin D just sits there, inactive and useless. In fact, taking high doses of vitamin D can actually deplete your magnesium stores even further because the body uses so much of it to process the vitamin. This can lead to some of the very symptoms you're trying to avoid, like muscle cramps, anxiety, or even heart palpitations. It's a bit of a catch-20 to where you think you're getting healthier, but you're actually creating a secondary deficiency. That is why in 2026, the gold standard for senior health isn't just a vitamin D pill, it's a protocol that ensures your minerals are in balance. As we're going through these points, think about your own routine and maybe share in the comments what time of day you usually take your supplements. It is always interesting to see how different people manage their health rituals. Now, moving on to the fourth major mistake, the megadose myth. There was a trend for a while where people would take a massive dose of vitamin D, say 50 IS once a week or once a month. The idea was that the body would store it and use it as needed. However, the latest clinical trials suggest that this bolus dosing might actually be counterproductive for seniors. High, infrequent doses can sometimes trigger a counter-reaction in the body that actually increases the risk of falls and fractures in the short term. The body prefers a steady, daily supply that mimics natural sun exposure. Instead of a weekly bomb of vitamin D, a consistent daily dose of 800 to 2000 IS, depending on what your specific doctor recommends, is proven to be much safer and more effective for maintaining bone density and immune function. Fifth, let us discuss the critical synergy between vitamin D and vitamin K2. If vitamin D is the worker that absorbs calcium into your bloodstream, vitamin K2 is the traffic cop that tells the calcium where to go. Without enough K2, that calcium can end up in all the wrong places like your arteries, leading to hardening of the arteries, or in your kidneys, causing stones. You want that calcium in your bones and teeth, not your cardiovascular system. This is why you all see so many D3K to combo supplements on the shelves now. For seniors especially, protecting the heart while strengthening the bones is the ultimate goal. And you really can't have one without the other when you're talking about high-level supplementation. The logic here is all about bioavaladage and synergy. We've moved past the era of just taking a vitamin and into an era of optimizing a system. Your body is a complex biological machine, and as we age, that machine becomes a little more sensitive to how it is fueled by understanding that D3 is superior to D2. That fat is required for absorption, and that magnesium and K2 are the essential partners. You're already miles ahead of the general public. But we've only just scratched the surface of how to do this correctly. There are still major questions about timing, blood testing, and hidden symptoms of toxicity that look a lot like deficiency. I want to make sure you have the full picture. So in the next part of this video, we're going to dive deep into the specific timing, whether morning or night, is better, in the sneaky science that you might actually be taking too much, which is a growing problem in 2026 if you've ever felt after starting a new supplement. You want to miss the next section. Now that we've covered the fundamental building blocks of why your cart routine might be failing you, let's shift our focus to something most people never consider: the clock. Timing is everything in biology, and when it comes to vitamin D, the when is just as important as the how. This huge mistake many seniors make is taking their vitamin D supplement right before bed. It seems logical, right? You take your evening medications, your melatonin, or your magnesium, and you toss in the vitamin D. But here is the catch: vitamin D is inversely related to melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. Because vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin, your brain naturally associates its presence with daylight. When you take a high dose at night, it can actually suppress your melatonin production, leading to restless nights or difficulty falling asleep. If you've been struggling with insomnia lately, your supplement schedule might be the hidden culprit. The best time to take it is actually with your largest meal of the day, preferably at breakfast or lunch, to signal to your body that it is daytime and to maximize that fat solubility we talked about earlier. As we move forward, if you are finding these tips eye-opening, please take a second to share this video with a friend or family member. We're all trying to navigate the confusing world of health together, and a simple share could help someone you care about avoid a lot of frustration. Sixth on our list is the sunlight fallacy. I hear this all the time from people living in places like Florida or Arizona. I don't need a supplement. I am outside all the time. While that sounds great in theory, the reality for seniors is a bit more complicated. As we age, our skin becomes significantly less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D from UV rays. A 70-year-old person gets about 75% less vitamin D from the same amount of sun exposure as a 20-year-old. On top of that, many of us are rightfully using sunscreen to prevent skin cancer, which blocks the very UVB rays needed for vitamin D production. So even if you are regular at the golf course or the beach, your blood levels might still be in the danger zone. Relying on the sun alone after age 65 is often a losing game, which is why supplementation done correctly is so vital. Seventh, we have to talk about the weight factor. This is a piece of the puzzle that often gets missed during a standard 5-minute doctor's visit. Vitamin D is sequestered in body fat. If you carry a bit of extra weight, especially around the midsection, that fat acts like a sponge, soaking up the vitamin D and keeping it from circulating in your bloodstream where it can actually do its job. This means that a standard dose that works for a 150-pound person might be completely insufficient for someone who weighs 220 pounds. In 2026, the nutable community is moving toward weight-based dosing for vitamin D. Similar to how we handle many other medications. If you've even taken a standard dose and your blood levels aren't moving, it is not that the vitamin isn't working, it is that your body as storage tanks are taking it all before your bones can get a sip. 8. Let us address a growing concern in the senior community, vitamin D toxicity. While deficiency is the most common problem, we are starting to see more cases of too much of a good thing. Because vitamin D is fat soluble. It doesn't just wash out of your system like vitamin C does if you take too much. It builds up in your tissues. The signs of overdosing can be very sneaky because they look like other common issues. We rate talking about things like unexplained fatigue, a metallic taste in your mouth, or even frequent urination and brain fog. If you rate taking 10 IS or more daily without medical supervision, you could be pushing your calcium levels to high, which puts a massive strain on your kidneys. This is why regular blood testing is the only way to truly know where you stand. You wouldn't drive your car without a fuel gauge, so don't try to manage your vitamin D levels without a lab test at least once a year. 9th, we need to look at the gut. You are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. Many seniors deal with leaky gut, celiac disease, or even just the natural decline in stomach acid that comes with age. If your digestive system is in top shape, that expensive supplement you rate taking is basically going straight into the toilet. If you have conditions like Crohn's or even just frequent bloating and indigestion, you might need a different delivery method. Some of the latest research suggests that sublingual sprays where the vitamin is absorbed through the tissues in your mouth, or even topical creams can be more effective for people with malabsorption issues. It is about finding the path of least resistance for your specific body. 10th, let us talk about the interaction with common medications. This is where things can get a bit risky if you aren't careful. Certain medications that many seniors take regularly do vastly interfere with vitamin D. For example, some cholesterol-lowering drugs by sequestrants and even certain weight loss medications can block the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. On the flip side, taking vitamin D while on certain high medications, like digoxin, can be dangerous if it causes your calcium levels to spike. Always make sure your doctor knows exactly how much vitamin D you rate taking, especially if you've recently started a new prescription. It is all about coordination. By now, you're probably starting to see that vitamin D isn't just a set-it-and-forget-it supplement. It is a dynamic hormone. Yes, it is actually a hormone, not just a vitamin that touches almost every system in your body. From your heart health to your cognitive function and your muscle strength. Getting this right is one of the most impactful things you can do for your longevity. But there is one more major piece of this story that we haven't touched on yet, and it involves the hidden inhibitors found in our modern diet and environment that can actively cancel out your vitamin D gains. We covered the timing, the fat requirements, and the essential mineral pairings. But now we need to talk about the hidden inhibitors that might be sabotaging your efforts from inside your own kitchen. 11th on our list is the impact of highly processed seed oils and excessive sugar. In 2026, we are seeing more evidence that chronic inflammation, often driven by a diet high in refined carbohydrates and industrial oils, can actually desensitize your vitamin D receptors. This means that even if you have enough vitamin D floating around in your blood, your cells can hear the signal it is trying to send. It is like having a perfectly good tea, but a lot that has been jammed with gum. By focusing on an anti-inflammatory diet rich in whole foods, you're essentially cleaning the lot, allowing that vitamin D to actually enter your cells and start regulating your immune system and bone remodeling. 12th, let us get specific about the numbers. When you get your blood work back, I'll also arrange for 25 hydroxy vitamin D. In many labs, anything above 30 ng/ml is considered normal, but for seniors looking to optimize their health, normal isn't always optimal. Many leading longevity experts now suggest that for peak cognitive function and fall prevention, you want to aim for a range between 50 and 80 ng/ml. If you weigh sitting at 31, your doctor might say you weigh fine, but you might still be experiencing the fatigue and bone thinning associated with supplementation levels. Always ask for your actual number. Don't just settle for a "you're in the clear" phone call from the front desk. Having that specific data point allows you to adjust your dose with precision rather than guesswork. 13th, we have to look at the winter depth. For those of you living in the northern half of the United States, anywhere above the line of Atlanta or Los Angeles, the sun's angle from November through March is physically incapable of triggering vitamin D production in your skin, no matter how long you stand outside. This is known as the vitamin D winter. During these months, your body relies entirely on its stored reserves in your supplement. Many seniors make the mistake of keeping their dose exactly the same year-round. However, you might actually need to safely increase your intake during the dark months and scale it back in the summer. This seasonal adjustment is how our ancestors lived for millennia, and mimicking that rhythm can keep your immune system from crashing right when flu and cold season hits its peak. Before I give you the final daily protocol, I want to remind you to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Our goal here is to empower you with the data you need to be the CEO of your own health. And we have a lot more deep dives like this coming up. Now, let us put everything we've learned into a simple, actionable daily vitamin and D protocol for 2026. First, take your vitamin D3, not D2, in the morning or at lunch, never at night. Second, ensure that meal contains at least 5 to 10 grams of healthy fat and a piece of salmon, half an avocado, or even just a spoonful of extra virgin olive oil. Third, make sure you are getting enough magnesium, either through your diet with leafy greens and pumpkin seeds or via a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement in the evening, which actually helps with sleep while the vitamin D works during the day. Fourth, check that your supplement includes vitamin K to specifically the NTA7 form to ensure that the calcium vitamin D absorbs actually makes it into your bones. This get tested at least twice a year, once in the peak of summer and once in the dead of winter, to see how your body is responding to your specific environment. And finally, don't ignore your gut health. If you have digestive issues, consider a liposomal or sublingual form of D3 to bypass the traditional digestive route. This isn't just about popping a pill, it's about creating an internal environment where that pill can actually succeed. Taking vitamin D the right way is one of the simplest and most cost-effective ways to protect your independence as you age. It is the difference between having bones that are brittle and bones that are resilient, or an immune system that is sluggish and one that is on guard. You've worked hard for your health, and you deserve to get the full benefit of the supplements you invest in. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment below and let me know one thing you are going to change about your routine today. I read as many comments as I can, and I love hearing your stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video to talk more about how to live your strongest, healthiest life.